Y'all know what time it is. This is a Brothers Got Next. We back. It's championship weekend. I'm here with my boy D. D, man. Super Bowl is almost here. How you feeling about this Final Four?
I'm excited and like shocked at the same time. It's just a lot
Man,
of like there's been a
man.
lot of surprises, a lot of yeah, just shock. I mean, and just good seeing different teams in it. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
well, the normal characters are the obviously the Chiefs are in it again. The
Yeah.
Eagles are in it again. Um the Bills haven't been back in a while. I know they were there like maybe 3 or 4 years
Right,
ago.
like 2, 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And the Commanders haven't been there since '91. So
Well, I
yeah, it's
hate
just good to see them, in it. You know what I mean? And just good for this area because
unfortunately.
I never thought in my lifetime I would see the Commanders even sniffing a Super Bowl. I thought they'd be, at some point get better and some point be, like at least in the playoffs, maybe on a regular basis. But I never thought like, oh yeah, they're going to be a Super Bowl team. Not this fast.
Unfortunately, they had the longest streak in the NFC of not reaching the title game. Now it's the Cowboys. So,
Yeah, I did. That's a we don't even need to get into that. That's a clown show that's going on right now. Yeah,
but
total
you know
clown
what,
show.
D? Week one, you watching?
I mean, I'm gonna watch every game though, because I mean, I like NFL, so I'm gonna watch every game. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's a given. But I will say this: as the years have gone by, and you can attest to this now. I know you used to always get on me like, "Oh, you gonna watch?" You think, but you can see now I kind of care less more and more.
You don't
Like,
get as emotionally
nah,
invested.
I'm not. Yeah, so you as I've gotten older, I kind of know what it is now. Like, as long as Jerry Jones there, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a clown show. You're gonna get just a big chaos and mess. I get it. Like this is what we are. This is what it is. We're pretty much the Raiders now when Al Davis was getting, older and
Here the
yeah.
difference is though, like this year aside because Dak got hurt, but like y'all are still competitive. The Raiders were awful. Like with Lane Kiffin, they were winning like 3 games.
Yeah.
Bad.
But I think the Cowboys are gonna get to that. Like I think you're gonna start seeing those Campo years coming. Remember we were like 5-11,
You think so?
six
With,
and
with a
ten.
healthy Dak, you think so?
Yeah, because they can't do it because Quab. I don't think you realize they are so cap struck. So Dak is going to count $90 million next year against the cap. So they can't
Mm-hmm.
sign any free agents. Remember, they still have to sign Micah to a long term extension. And now you really have to depend on the draft. And you said yourself with the draft, it's hit or miss.
So hit or
Yeah,
miss.
it's no guarantee that whoever you draft is going to be, they're going to hit. It's probably like 50-50. So they can't get any big free agents. So they can't really better the team unless you're getting through the draft and younger. And I'm going to be honest with you, with the exception of like maybe last one we were Micah and CD, who have they drafted that's been like, oh man, that's been a great grab pick? I mean, I'll give you Trayvon Diggs because he was a second round pick. And then Deron Bland was kind of, hidden gem because I think he was like a fourth or fifth round pick. But as far as their first round picks, who have they really hit on? Like,
Yeah, Deron Bland was a good pick though.
no, but I'm saying
I
he's
also like
he's a
Overshawn.
fourth or
I'm
fifth round
talking.
pick. He wasn't a first round
I'm
pick.
talking about just draft picks overall. Overshawn was a good draft pick
He
too.
was, yeah, he was because he was like a
I
second or third round
I
pick.
think you guys. I actually think you guys draft pretty well, man. Like as a fan, you probably know the ins and outs of everybody you guys have drafted over the years. But like,
Yeah,
you guys have drafted some pretty good guys, honestly. So I don't know. The Steelers have had some misses too, bro. So it's not just y'all. If you think y'all have had some misses, it definitely happens.
yeah. Like I said, I just think from how they're doing business, it's not a long term recipe for success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you pay now again. Dak is what next 4 or 5 years. That's it. You can't do
Mhm.
anything. You know what I mean? You're paying CD, which is fine. CD's one of a top five receiver. I have no
Yeah,
problem
he's great. You got to
with
pay
you
him.
paying Pete. I have no problem with you paying Micah. Micah's arguably a top five defensive player in the league. Maybe
Mhm.
if you want to put him in top 10, he deserves his money too. But that's about it. I mean,
Yeah.
that deserves the money on that. As far as who deserves the money on that team. I mean, Trayvon's been hurt. Trayvon did deserve his money at the time he got it, but now he's been hurt. And then I don't know if you heard the report today. It looks like he might actually miss the next season as well because I guess
Mm.
he had to have surgery again on the same ankle or knee that he, had, problems with during the season. So there's no guarantee he's going to play next year. Yeah, the Cowboys are just it's just it doesn't matter at this point. Like they're cap struck. They have an owner that's very like doesn't really know what he's doing at this point. He's 82. He just wants to do what he wants. He doesn't listen to anybody. He doesn't want to. He wants to do everything on his own and himself, and he doesn't realize that what he's doing, everything, all the decisions he's making are wrong. It's not good moves. You're not like, oh, that was a good move. No, you're doing everything wrong. And then he's hoping that he's going to get different results. And when he keeps getting the same results, he's not understanding why. Like, oh, why am I getting the same result?
Well, and we don't have to get too deep into this, but that's the same situation with the Steelers right now. They expect different results, and they're not really doing much to change the situation. They're not getting different coaches. Like they've made. I understand the season just ended, but they haven't let go of it. They still got the same offensive line coach. They still got the same defensive coordinator. Still got
Right.
the same thing again. Now, let's stick with the Cowboys a little bit longer since we're on topic anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Reports have came out today. We're recording this podcast what's today? Thursday. Recording this podcast
Right.
on Thursday. Reports have started to come out that Brian Schottenheimer is actually closing in on the deal. Now it's just reports; nothing's been confirmed yet. He was your guys' offensive analyst in 2022. Last year, he was the offensive coordinator. Of course, he didn't call plays, so I guess he was involved in game planning. But I guess I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on these speculations?
I don't think it's speculation. I think it's going to happen. And
What are your thoughts then? What are your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts are it's classic Jerry Jones. What he's doing now. It's not surprising me. This is what they're doing now. They're a clown show. This is a joke. This is like what they are. You know, Cowherd said something earlier today. Was saying like we're starting to see the fall of a great American business, and it happens. It happens to everybody. Unfortunately,
it does.
Where companies or teams are considered, kind of been great for years. It happens. You have a downfall, and I think you're starting to see that with the Cowboys. It's just that this is their time where Jerry's 80-something years old. He's stubborn. He's not going to listen to anybody. He wants to do everything himself, and because of that, these are the things you're going to get out of it. You
think it's turning into an Al Davis situation?
Oh yeah, I was saying that to you guys in our private text messages, and I'm not trying that to be funny. This is like I'm telling you guys the truth. As much as you guys maybe want to like find a silver lining and think, oh no, it's not. No, it is. Like, I think you guys will. It will really hit you guys in these next couple of seasons when we don't make the playoffs multiple years, where we're not even being competitive. Where it's like, oh, they're winning 4 or 5 games a year. Like, yeah, that's what it's going to turn into. Yeah. Like, this is the start of it. Like, I'm sorry, Dak at this point is who he is. And he's on the wrong side of 30. He's going to be 31.
Coming off an injury. Yeah.
With 2 major injuries. I mean, this is what the Cowboys are. And then you're going to waste a star receiver's, golden years. Same thing probably with Micah. Because they can't get them help because you have to depend on the draft. You can't sign anybody because you're cap struck. Now, of course, there are reports are saying that, well, Dak is saying he's willing to, restructure his deal. Which is good to try to make. But I don't know how much you could restructure it. You know what I mean? Because, obviously how football works. When you restructure it, all you're doing is either you're giving more money on the front end or more money on the back end. Mm-hmm. So it's like, do they want the money available now so they can get help? Or do they want money on the back end where like, okay, once probably Dak is in his 2nd or 3rd year, they're like, okay, now we have money. So that's all restructuring is. It's not like you're going to be giving Dak less money. Like, it's not like, okay.
Right. Just moving money. Yeah.
Right. It's not like we're like, okay, we're going to give you, what we say, we're going to give you 240. Now we're going to give you 200. No, it's not how it works. It's just pretty much either they're front ending the deal or they're back ending the deal. That's really all that's how it works.
Yeah.
So from what I understand is that I guess they may somehow front end the deal, you know what I mean? So they get more money on the back end because obviously I guess the whole thinking is, remember, they still have to re-sign Micah. So if you front end the deal, it's going to be hard to re-sign Micah. So they'll probably back end the deal. So they'll say, okay, like you're going to get more money up front. So we just give you your money. And then on the back end, you don't get as much. So we can, later on have money to then go get free agents because you've already got your money. You know what I mean? So
it's the right move to re-sign Micah, right?
Yes. I'm not saying it's not. Yeah, because you have to, like I said, if you give him money on the back end, you're not going to be able to re-sign Micah because Micah's, every year, your cap takes a certain hit. So if you front end the money and you say, okay, Dak, we're going to give you majority of your money up front. So later, right, we know we have to sign Micah next year, going forward. Yeah, that's the only way you can do it.
Yeah.
unfortunately, Cowboy fans, you're not going to get a lot of help next year because he like I said, he's front end. It sounds like they're front ending the deal, so all that money is going to Dak. He's a $90 million cap hit next year, so you can't really sign anybody next year. So you may have to wait 2 or 3 years to sign people.
So you're seeing this trending in that
Yeah, in
really.
the wrong direction. Yeah, downward. Yeah, at least I would say if I had to estimate it, probably another. We're probably not gonna be that good for another 2-3 years. Now, once we get into that third year, because like I said, Dak's contract will be ending. Which is I think after the 4th or 5th year. Yeah, then they'll probably have money to work because Dak would have got all his money. Because CD's money is not really gonna matter against later on. That is he's making $38 million. I mean, a year. It's a lot, but again, they're probably giving him a lot of that money up front. I'm sure they'll do the same with Micah too. They're probably going to give him a lot of the money up front.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you have the emergence of the Commanders. Like if they're a better team now, Eagles aren't necessarily going anywhere. So that division, I mean, the Giants are still going to stink for a while until they figure out their quarterback situation. So you're going to have to compete with that other team now. It's not just y'all versus the Eagles anymore, which is not good news for the Cowboys.
Now I will say this though about the Commanders. Now they're going to have a little interesting dilemma in about 3 or 4 years when they have to pay Jaden Daniels.
That's not for a while though.
Right, but what I'm saying is every team goes through this, right? Because once you have to pay the quarterback, then it lessens what you can do. So the Commanders, their window right now is now to, like you said, right, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do with Jaden because eventually you're gonna have to pay him, right? And for quarterbacks, it only keeps going up. The price is not decreasing. So if Dak is getting 60 by the time Jaden's up, 75, 80 million you're paying him.
It's going to be a lot more.
Correct. So then again, so every team goes through this. So once they have to pay Jaden Daniels, it's the less they can do because everybody's not doing a Mahomes, Tom Brady deal. That's just how it works.
No. I mean, Brady saved the Patriots so much money.
Of course.
But
he was making so much money off the field, he can do that. Right. Same thing with Mahomes. Now, if Jaden is making a lot of money off the field, maybe he considers like, okay, you know what, I will take less so we can, get help here. But a lot of these guys now they want their money, and I get it. They want the bag. So
we all want our money,
right? They like, no, you gonna pay me $80 million a year? You know what I mean? And y'all figure it out from there. So it's good when you have a quarterback you don't have to pay for 4 or 5 years. But of course, once you get to that point, it comes very quick because these years just go by fast.
Yeah,
you get to a point like, oh damn, now we got to pay him. Then you kind of know the team is not as flexible. Like, you know what I mean? They're only going to be able to do but so much. And because you're paying the quarterback, which I get it, they're the most important position. You got to pay him. So, and the thing with Jaden Daniels is he's probably going to get 2 big contracts. It's not just going to be 1 big contract. It'll be, unless he, God forbid, knock on wood, he doesn't get hurt or anything. He's probably
let's assume that he stays good. We've seen rookies before.
Right, of course, right. If he stays good, I mean, he can get 2 big contracts. So again, every team hits that window. I'm happy for the Commanders. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy that they're getting this pub, but I think this is their window, right? From his rookie year till he gets to year 4, year 5. Because once you give him the contract, that's it. It's over. You know what I mean? So we just spoke on the possibility, or you think it's a shoe-in that the Cowboys are going to hire Schottenheimer. You were a big fan. Well, I will say there was reports today before we got on. I don't know if you saw it. I was on X, and I guess apparently now, and I don't know how if it's going to lead to anything, but I guess apparently now Jerry Jones is talking to Pete Carroll. He's like a sleeper.
How would you feel about that?
I like that better than Schottenheimer. I'll tell you that. Yeah. I like that way better than Schottenheimer.
I'm not convinced that Schottenheimer's like a shoe-in. I still think we'll see.
Okay.
I don't think it's Dion though, unfortunately.
No, it's not. So the reason why they want to keep Schottenheimer is because he's Louisiana is more of from a financial standpoint.
Yeah, of course.
He's never been a head coach,
and he's already on the staff. So
already on the staff, and they can kind of lowball him.
Yeah, they'll definitely.
Jerry doesn't want to pay a coach $15 million a year. He doesn't. And he's come out and kind of said that. He's like, he feels like coaches. So Jerry looks at coaches as like, he doesn't look at them as like how other teams look at them like, oh, we have to get a good football coach and pay them what they're worth. Like what Ben Johnson just got. Jerry's belief is it should be incentive based. Like, okay, if you do this, then we'll give you money. Like if you get us far in the playoffs, so he lowballs them. So maybe he pays them. Okay, I'll give you $5 million a year. Now I can get up to $10 million, can get up to $5 million if you do this. But Jerry's smart. He's not a dumb guy. He knows with this roster and with what we have, that's not going to happen. So he kind of says to himself, "Oh, well, I'm probably going to only paying him $5 million because this team ain't getting to the Super Bowl. They ain't going to the NFC Championship game. We ain't done it in 30 years." So he's already in his head, dude. This is the same guy that benched Cooper Rush so they wouldn't give him. I think he was owed a
Oh my God.
$500,000 bonus if he would have started. They benched him so he wouldn't get the bonus.
Wow.
Like that's insane, bro.
Which is probably a little more common than we think in the NFL with like these incentive-based deals.
Right.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think it's just more of a financial thing with it because if you have to get a Pete Carroll, if you have to get any of these guys that have won Super Bowls or command kind of some kind of power, you're gonna have to pay them. You know what I mean?
I'm very fascinated by Pete Carroll. Like, I think obviously he's old
Yeah.
for a coach. He's a little older, but I mean, he's had a lot of success in the NFL. He's a veteran coach that's not just gonna, Jerry's still gonna run the show, but he's still a coach that demands a lot of respect. And
Oh,
as
of
he's
course.
players are gonna respect him from the jump. He's a Super Bowl champ. He should be a two-time Super Bowl
I
champ. We
know.
won't get into that,
And a national champion.
and a national champion. So,
Mhm.
so you'd be happy with that hire.
Over Schottenheimer.
So,
Yes.
so,
Now, if you're talking about as a full totality, I'm okay with it. I mean,
yeah,
another retread. Like you say, he's old. I mean,
yeah, he's old.
now again, he's better than Schottenheimer. I don't. As far as if can we be successful? Yeah, I don't. I think he can make us a playoff team.
I think so.
I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl with him, but yeah, they could be a playoff team. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, he did that a ton in Seattle. So
Exactly. But with Cowboy fans, just getting the playoffs is not enough. You know.
same with my fam.
Yeah, it's not. Getting to the playoffs is not. I think if you're a Jags fan or a Browns fan or something, like getting to the playoffs is enough. But not with the Cowboys. You got to get at least to the NFC Championship game. You know
It
what I
makes you wonder how long you have that that level of expectation. So I think of a team like the Texans, right?
mean?
So they've made the playoffs the last couple of years. They've won a playoff game both years. Like that's good. But like, when are we going to start to make when do the expectations need to start being higher for the Texans? Is it like next year? Is it the
When they
year
start paying
after?
CJ Stroud.
Oh,
Because that's
true.
how it works. When you start paying the quarterback, the expectations become high, especially if let's say if CJ Stroud ends up making it up until he gets paid. So then we're gonna start saying, okay, you getting 65, $7 million, bro. You better deliver. You know what I mean? No more of this, we want you in the playoffs. We need to see you in the AFC Championship game.
Like that puts more pressure on the
Of
coach.
course, yeah. But I
Mhm.
mean, when you're not getting paid that much, yeah, the pressure because you're not paying them. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should still have expectations, but you're kind of like, yeah, we're not really paying them. And the Texans have really been good for like 2 years now. You know what I mean?
They won a
So,
playoff game each year, though. Like I said,
yeah,
so
right. But I think once you start paying Stroud,
yeah.
then it's like, okay, bro, you better start delivering. You know what I mean?
Delivering. So while we're on the topic, we'll stick with it with coaches. Obviously, there have been a couple of developments since the last time we had a podcast. I just want you to quickly give each of these hires a grade. What would you give the Jets grade for hiring Aaron Glenn?
A B.
Okay. Why is that?
I think he's gonna bring similar to Salah, bring that toughness.
Mm-hmm.
He's energetic. I think the players will respect. He's a former NFL player.
Former
He knows
Jet.
how the locker rooms works.
Yeah,
He knows how everything
Jet.
works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's always good to just have a new voice. I think he's gonna bring a culture. Being on Dan Campbell's staff, I think
they're all about culture building.
all about culture building, right? So he can bring a culture. I think the negatives about it is, unfortunately, he still has Woody Johnson as an owner.
That ain't gonna change.
Right, exactly. Unfortunately, he still has that.
Yeah.
So kind of holding him back. And he's a D guy, like we just talked about kind of before the show. Unfortunately, this league is all about offense, at least now. So I'm really interested to see who he gets as an offensive coordinator. Yeah, it just really depends because, I mean, he's a D guy. Not to say that he can't coach the whole football team, which he has already said he's going to coach the whole football team. We know that. But, your side of your expertise is on the defensive side of the ball. So we don't think the Jets will have an issue as far as defensively. I just want to see how they are offensively because he obviously have to get a good, OC, good offensive coordinator. So, yeah, I give it about a B.
Yeah, I'd give it the same grade, and I don't want to repeat too much of what you said because they weren't as good defensively last year. They had some breakdowns in their secondary. Like Sauce Gardner didn't have as strong of a year as he did, previous years.
I would say it's once Salah left, though. I think when Salah left, that's when they went downhill.
It is once Salah left, but yeah, I think I would give it a B as well because they're still going to have the same issues going in the next season. Who's their quarterback going to be? Even if you decide to bring back Rodgers, How is that going to impact the culture building that you're trying to do? Anytime you
Right.
have a seasoned veteran quarterback with a big personality, how is that going to affect the locker room? So that's a situation because I mean that's big. That's going to be very, very key to the amount of success he has. Who is his quarterback? I don't know. Are they going to try, bringing back Rodgers? Is it going to be a Russell? I don't see Russell Wilson in New York. I don't personally see that. Is it going to be a Justin Fields? Are they going to just rely on the draft? I don't know, but is he going to be successful right away? No, they're the Jets. And if you're building a new, it usually takes time. Remember, Dan Campbell's first season wasn't pretty,
No,
but nobody was saying let's get him out of here. They saw the progress, like they saw the progress in the locker room.
that's Detroit, and that's not every organization. We've talked about this, Quab, how some organizations have no patience. Like after the first year, a guy is done because they want quick results. They're very unrealistic.
Yeah,
Detroit was just one of those organizations. When we've always clowned Detroit in the past for being a bad organization, they actually had patience. Like, okay, right, his first year was bad. Let's give him another chance, and then you saw the improvement.
well,
I know
getting
they
Brad
didn't.
Holmes in there was big too, like getting a new GM.
Right, that
So,
was big.
and the Jets are also going to have a new GM.
That's true.
So,
Right, right.
but once again, man, if you have a meddling owner, it's gonna impact everything. It's a ripple effect,
Hmm.
right? 'Cause starts
Right,
from the top. So I
right.
still give it a B. What grade would you give the Bears for Ben Johnson?
That's an A.
Oh
That's
yeah,
an A for me
I agree.
because all the problems they had were offensively, and now you probably got the best offensive coordinator in the league, maybe
Yeah,
one of the
he's
best
awesome.
offensive minds. I'm not saying the best offensive mind because you have McVay, Reed, obviously that are already
Yeah.
coaches.
As far as
But,
OCs though, yeah, he's up there.
oh yeah, like
Up
I mean I think he was the best offensive coordinator in the league
there.
last year. Yeah, this is an A because you addressed what was the problem side of the ball. Because
Yeah.
defensively, they weren't bad. They were pretty good defensively, the
Mhm.
Bears. I think they were a top 10
Yeah, they were
defense.
actually solid. They were solid.
Yeah, so the defense is not your issue. It was the offensive side of the ball. So, yeah, this checks all the boxes because you have a second-year quarterback, and he's getting an offensive coach instead of a defensive coach. That's already a check right there.
Yeah.
You have a guy who's an innovative uh, offensive coordinator, head coach. Like, it's very creative when it comes to play calling. You know what I mean? He's not, you know, copycatting people and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna, do this." He's creating his own, way of offense. He just brings new energy. You know, and I'm sorry, the Bears. Thank God they hired an offensive coach because for years they always
Oh,
hired
Eberflus and all
defense,
these.
defense, defense. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
this is not that type of, like we said, this is not that type of league anymore. It's all about offense. Now, I will give them, they did have Nagy for a few years, and yes, they did
Who
a
had
bad
a little
job.
success? I mean, he took Trubisky to the playoffs.
Exactly, yeah. But I think they legit have a good quarterback. Now you have a really good offensive coordinator who is now the head coach. It's all it's all positive. They don't have a meddling owner. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is an A. Like I expect the Bears to be a playoff team next year.
I don't know if I have that same level of expectation. One, because of the division. Even if the Vikings, we don't know what their quarterback situation is going to be, so they're going to fall off a little bit. I would give this a solid B plus. I think actually no, I'd give it an A. I'd give it an A. And I
Give it
was
A minus.
I was thinking of changing my grade for a particular reason. Now, here's the thing. One thing I love about Ben Johnson is he's a very balanced offensive coach. He's not one of those guys that gets too
Right.
pass
Right.
heavy. Jameer Gibbs, I believe, was top 5 in the league in rush attempts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, they're going to run the ball too. Offensive line, that's the key. You got to build up the line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because if they don't have a good offensive line, like they haven't had a good offensive line for so long, if that's bad, they're going to continue to struggle. We know that the core of what you want to do starts at your O line, right? I do actually like the hire of bringing in Dennis Allen as defensive coordinator. I think he's an awful head coach, but I think he's a
Yeah.
really good defensive coordinator.
Right.
We talked about it a million times on the show, right? Like some guys are just better as coordinators, and he's just one of those guys. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little hesitant to say playoff team only because of the strength of that division. I think the Packers are, I don't know if the Packers are going to get necessarily way better, but they're still a 10, 11 win team. We saw what what the Vikings did this last season. And of course,
I think the Lions take a step back.
that's the thing to say right now. Well, they don't have any coordinators, so we'll see what they do there.
Exactly.
I'm gonna assume they promote within, which means they're gonna have some of the same philosophies there. So I still expect them to be pretty good. I mean, it's easy to take a step back when you have 15 wins. I mean, if they have 12 wins, that's fine, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I was thinking of only giving it a B because I'm like, well, what are they going to do about the offensive line? But hey, you know, you got the draft to work on that thing. You have free agency.
Yeah,
So
from everything I've heard, they're going to focus on the offensive line because they don't need receivers. They
no,
don't need a running back. They don't need. They have two good tight ends. They have
yeah,
two good
man,
receivers.
they got a lot of
They
weapons.
have a lot of weapons, so they don't need to focus on getting him weapons. He
Yeah,
has that. So defensively, we just said they were top 10 defense last year. They were pretty good. Like you said, he's bringing in Dennis Allen as the defensive coordinator, so they shouldn't miss a beat.
yeah, it should be
So
good.
they're probably going to focus on the offensive line. Yeah, that would be the main thing because they don't need anything else. What else do they need? They don't, like I said, receiver, tight end, running back. You got all that. You
You
got
just
you
well,
check all the boxes.
we better hope they have a quarterback. We think they do, but we don't know for sure. You know,
I mean, look, Caleb was a rookie.
let's hope he turns out.
Yeah.
We've seen first overall picks not pan out. We hope he does, and I'm optimistic that he will. But we need to make sure he's good because if he doesn't thrive in a Ben Johnson system, he just may not be the guy.
Well, I feel confident he will because I think Ben Johnson's actually going to make him look better or look good. Now, him like with other coaches, it's like, yeah, maybe not, but because he's with this guy, yeah, he's probably going to look good. I'm not saying he's going to be Mahomes or Josh Allen or anything, but if he's a top 10 quarterback, it's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, okay, you know what I mean? He ain't got to be in the top 5. He can be a top 10 guy and be like, yeah, he's pretty good. You know
As
what I
long as
mean?
you see progress every year, that's the key.
Exactly.
Yeah, one more grade I want you to give Vrabel going back. Patriots. What grade would you give that?
Mm. I'm not as high as everybody else is on the Vrabel thing.
Is it because of him being a defensive guy and their struggles being
That and just I didn't, maybe it's a personal thing. I didn't like how the whole thing went down. You know what I mean? Because it's almost like I felt like they wanted him from the jump, and like you went and hired Gerard Mayo for what? Like if you really wanted Vrabel, just do it. Like don't hire Gerard Mayo and bring in Vrabel. Like I just didn't like how the whole situation was, and then how they did the whole interview process. Like they were, I think Brian Leftwich interview who hadn't been in football like in 2 years, and then they hired this other guy. They interviewed this other African American head coach. Like it was almost okay. Let's just check out the boxes, and then we know we're gonna hire Vrabel. I just didn't like how the whole thing went down. Yeah, I mean, as far as him, I mean, I heard Josh McDaniels come back as OC. I mean, I guess Patriots fans are happy about it because it's all Patriots. But as far as production on the field, I mean, maybe like if I'm giving it a grade, maybe like a C plus.
Yeah,
because it's just I don't know if it's going to translate on the field. Like we think Drake May is going to be good. He still has no weapons. They don't have a good O line. And remember, like for years, their D was pretty good. Their D's not even that good anymore.
Well, that's what you would hope Vrabel can kind of
right. So here's the problem he's going to have. He's a D guy, so right, he's probably going to concentrate more on the defensive side of the ball. But you still got the offensive side of the ball work that has issues because again, they have no offensive line. He has no receivers. Now their running back, I like the guy Stevenson, who's pretty good. Yep. And like I said, we think Drake May, like we were saying about Caleb, is going to
be. Yeah, Drake May showed a lot of positive signs.
Right. We think he's going to be good, but there's no guarantees. But then at the end of the day, like we said, this league is more of a offensive league. I don't know how sustainable that is. And I'm sorry, Josh McDaniels not wowing me as an offensive coordinator. Like we know what he is. We saw what he was.
I think a lot of it was Brady. Bro.
Thank you. I was just about to say that. Yeah, he had Brady. So relax. Like anywhere else he's gone, he hasn't been able to replicate that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it's probably a C. Like I said, I'm sure Patriot fans are happy because it's like, oh, we got Vrabel, Patriot, we got John Manning coming back. He was that's fine. But I don't know how it's going to translate on the field. I think if anything, they will be better than they were last year. But I don't see them.
It's going to be hard to not be better than the 4.
Exactly. But then I don't see them as a playoff team. I see them. Yeah. They'll be competitive. I can see this team a 7-8 win team,
which would actually be pretty good.
That would be a good improvement. It could be like a 7-8 win team, but I don't see like 10, 11 win team. No, I don't see that.
I think that's going to take time. I would give it a bit of a higher grade than you. I'd give it maybe like a B minus. I don't the Josh McDaniel one. Are we still going to keep just bringing in Josh McDaniels? Josh McDaniels, like do we even know what his offenses are going to look like? Like I said, without Tom Brady, I don't know. I don't. He didn't impress me at all outside of New England, but he does have a good young prospect at quarterback. But once again, they're going to have to really focus on building around Drake May because the O line has struggles. The
They have no
receivers are
receivers.
good. They have a lot of issues there. I don't. 8 wins is bold. I think maybe 6. I think they're still going to
Yeah, I
finish.
agree with you.
Now that division
Some
probably.
people think they're a playoff team. I was watching some of
Yeah.
the just some other analysts or whatever or the commentators. They're saying they think they can sneak into the playoffs next year. I don't see
I
it.
don't see that. Now that
They were
division is
bringing up
not.
the division, and I was going to say I'll let you finish because they were bringing up the division.
Yeah, because I mean, outside of the Bills, I'm not. I'm over the Dolphins, bro. They're the same
Yeah,
story every year. Same story every year. Start off the season looking pretty good. Tua gets hurt. Tua comes back. They can't win in the cold. It's the same script every year.
you think Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat next year?
Possibly. And are they even going to have Tyreek Hill? Because according to Tyreek Hill, he ain't coming back. I don't know.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. So he first said he had no issue, and like, oh yeah, I'm good. Now he's saying he doesn't want to come back.
Oh well, was there a recent report he said he had no issue?
So remember after that whole fiasco when he was saying like, yeah, like I may have to go somewhere else or whatever. Apparently he didn't retract it, but he kind of said like, oh, I was just frustrated. I don't really want to leave you. I like to and all that. And
Oh,
okay, I know we're gonna. Did you see his top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL?
like
Like,
right now?
yeah, he gave his top 10. This was probably like a week.
No. What did he? Who
They
did he
did
have?
it on the nightcap.
Who did he have
So
number
he
one?
had number one as like
Well, that ends the list. I don't
exactly. And he had Dak like 4. And listen, I'm a Cowboy fan. I was like, no, Dak's not a top
Okay,
5.
so just kind of doing. So who? Okay, do you have this list? Can you pull up this list? Is it possible? Do you?
Yeah, let me try to pull it up.
I have my computer right here.
Yeah. So he didn't have Mahomes on it, so that ends the conversation too. Yeah, I mean, this is just to give you a heads up. Mahomes wasn't on it. Yeah, he had Dak 4. I was like, bro, no. I'm like, how?
That 4 is crazy.
2 is 1. So he's not all there.
2 is 1.
Yeah. But getting back to what you were saying about Tyreek, I mean, yeah, I just don't guarantee he is just gonna officially be gone because he's like I said, he's flip-flopped so many different times. So who knows how he feels by the time draft time comes or training camp when he's like, oh yeah, I'm good. You know what I mean?
I'm out on the Dolphins. I'm out.
I agree. I'm with you. I'm out.
Once December comes around, they don't win.
Right.
It's below 40. They don't win games.
We've already talked about the Jets. We know the Jets are not, going to do anything.
Well, yeah, you would hope they improve, but once again, who's their quarterback?
Right, exactly.
So
I agree with you. The
let's already lock up.
They could be the second best in that division.
Let's already lock up the Bills as division winners for 2025. Yeah. I'm already putting that in. It's a lock.
Exactly.
So yeah, the Vrabel one. I think Vrabel's a good coach, though. I think he did some good things in Tennessee. They overachieved a lot of the years there with just okay quarterbacks. But
he had a great defense. He had one of the greatest running backs of all time. Now, yeah, the quarterback thing, right? He really never had a quarterback, even though Tannehill that one year he was really good.
Thrill.
I'm sorry, yeah. And he had one of the greatest running backs. He had a really good D because he had a system. He had a how they won. They won by running the ball and playing good defense. Are they going to be do that in New England? Not right away because
they got a good
back, but the defense is not as good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll patch that up though. But yeah, you're right. I think they are a sleeper to finish second in that division.
Yeah,
right. So maybe why not 7-8 games? Yeah. So D, real quick before we wrap things up, let's go through these games, man. Got 2 of them. Give me your winner and why. Let's start in the NFC. Commanders at the Eagles. Who you got and why?
I got Commanders, man.
You're going all the way with the Commanders.
Yeah, huh? I got them going to the bowl, man. I think it's just a momentum thing. Like it's just certain teams, especially wildcard teams, when they get hot, it's hard to stop that. Yeah, I just have a funny feeling it's going to be a close game. Like they're not gonna do what they did to Detroit. Like I don't think they're going to put up 45 points on the second best D in the league.
Yeah.
But I do think they will do enough, or they'll keep it close to where at the end they pull it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see them winning by, a touchdown, even like a field goal at the end. But I think what they'll do, they'll keep it close. Nobody will go probably ahead more than a touchdown, and then they'll just at the right time in the fourth quarter, boom, You know what I mean? So that's why I think they'll win. I think that's how they win. But they won't. I don't think they're gonna put up 45 points. No. Mm-mm.
Well, one thing I'd be very optimistic about if I'm a Commanders fan is the fact that they put up 36 points on the Eagles not that long ago.
Right.
Now,
Jalen
you
didn't
know,
play.
he got hurt early in the game,
Yeah,
but I mean that's not a reflection on Jalen doesn't play defense. He was
that's
still
true.
able to put up a lot of points in that defense. So he's definitely a rookie with a different look. We always see this every once in a while. These rookies that come in, like CJ Stroud last year was very similar,
Mm-hmm.
but he might have had the best rookie season we've ever seen. Honestly, he
Oh
might.
yeah, yeah,
And if he gets to the Super Bowl, that's solidified for sure. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go Eagles though. We talked about the Commanders' defense a lot. How it's eventually
yeah. That's the Achilles heel. That's what
it's
concerns me
eventually
about
gonna come back and
Baltimore
get
way.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I just think Saquon is possessed right now, man. He's possessed.
they're a bend, but you can. They bend a lot,
They've
but
been
don't
too
break.
much.
Yeah, they've been almost on the point where it's about to snap. But yeah, that's the Achilles heel. When I talk to people even in the area, like obviously we live in the DMV area, and I think everybody who I've talked to has kind of said what scares them or worries them the most is the defense.
Yeah, and it's hard to win. It's hard to win in Philly.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Jalen Hurts, who I don't love, but he's still a guy that's been there, done that before.
exactly.
And he if he makes good decisions, finds his receivers, they're pretty much damn near unstoppable in third and fourth and one situations. So they're gonna, they're gonna be able to. Time of possession is big for the Eagles, man. They're always good at controlling the clock. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles, in what I think is gonna be a really good game. But man, if the
Gotcha.
Commanders win, that would be incredible. And then the AFC title game, man, Bills at Chiefs. Who you got?
I got Bills. I got Bills.
Oh wow! So you're going
And
both
I know
road.
all year I've been saying the three-peat was going to
Yeah, I'm
happen, but
shocked. I am stunned.
yeah, but Josh
Why? Why is
Allen
that?
and the Bills team, it just feels different. They're on another level. And I told you last week, I think this is the worst or the bad matchup that the Chiefs can get. You know what I mean? Because this is the one team that they have trouble matching up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's right there for Josh Allen and the Bills to do. Like if they don't do it this year, I don't know. I don't really know what to say after this. I mean,
This is
all
one
they
of the weaker Chiefs teams you'll have to go against, right?
right.
You
That's
gotta
what I was
stay
going to say. Because if
explosive,
you don't beat, I think this is the time. You don't beat the Chiefs now, then it ain't never happening. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I mean, this is your shot. This is it. Now I know you're not at home. I know you still have to go to KC. But as far as weather conditions, y'all both playing cold weather conditions. Same thing with the NFC game. You know what I mean? They both playing cold weather conditions, so weather's not going to be a factor. This is really just about the teams matching up, their play, their D, their O. This is the Bills' shot, man. If they don't do it this time, I like I said, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm confident that they finally get over the hump, and Josh Allen, McDermott, and all those guys will finally get to a Super Bowl.
So every once in a while, right, on this podcast, you got to make a bold prediction. Okay, I have a bold prediction about this game. I like the Bills as well,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Bills actually win convincingly. I'm just throwing it out there. Screw it. People can grab this clip and be like, man, look at this clown talking about the Chiefs are going to get blown out. The Chiefs never get blown. I just feel it. I just think I think the Bills are going to go in there and put their foot down early. And all the little situations and issues with the Chiefs throughout the year offensively is finally going to come back and hurt them. I think this is going to be one of those 37-21 games. I'm going Bills. Screw it. I'm putting all my chips. I'm putting all my chips on the table. Now, look, we're going to come back in a week or two like, man, why did I bet against Mahomes? Why did we both do it? Especially you. You've been on them all year. Like, yo,
I have. I just think it's the worst match they could. Like, if the Ravens would have won, I would have been like, yeah, Chiefs. The Chiefs are going. I'd have been like, Chiefs.
Well, you made a good point. The matchups. I think the Bills are a tougher matchup than the Ravens would have been.
Yeah, exactly. If the Ravens would have beat the Bills, I would have been like, oh, I like the Chiefs. I would, and I would have liked the Chiefs convincingly. I'd be like, yeah, I think the Chiefs win. It's just a matchup thing, and then I think also Lamar, he's never beaten them, so it's like it's a psychological thing, it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to go in and beat when you've never beaten a team, and then you have to beat them in their house to go to the Super Bowl. That I don't like those odds. You know what I mean? So Josh has at least beaten them. I know they've never beaten them in the playoffs, but he's at least beaten them in the regular season.
Quite a few times in the regular season.
Exactly.
So
he can do that. When you've never beaten somebody, that's tough. It's a mind thing. It's a mental thing. It's like,
They
You know,
have all the confidence. But like you said, it's a different beast in the playoffs.
it is.
But they've done it before, and I think they have that look and they're hungry, man. Not to say the Chiefs aren't; they're the
Right.
champs, of course.
Yeah.
But they're going to get the best shot the Bills got, and I think it's going to be a shot that they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, wow, we didn't see
Yeah.
this coming. And I think Josh is going to say like, "Look, I understand Mahomes has the titles and the accolades, but I think I'm probably the best quarterback in the league. I'm the MVP of this league right now." So
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he did it last week. Like when it was him and
yeah,
Lamar, he kind of proved like, yeah, I'm the MVP. Like I know everybody
yeah,
talks about Lamar, but hey, y'all remember, and everybody was saying, oh, the Ravens dominated during the season. Like it's gonna be the same in the playoff. No, he came as like, no, y'all got to come to my house now, and you see, it's a different result. You know what I mean? So
and
yeah,
the
no, I think Josh Allen's the MVP. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the difference in that Bills Ravens game was like it's the same issues with the Ravens, just those key turnovers that
Yeah, man.
Lamar had that bad pick and that fumble, and of course Mark Andrews is like, oh my gosh. Now credit to the defender for making that punching out that
Mhm.
ball to force that fumble, but that drop it's unfortunate for Mark Andrews. Of course,
Right.
all these stupid fans with these death threats, like bro, get a life. It's not that
Yeah,
serious.
I agree. I agree.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see, man. So wow, who would have ever guessed that you'd have a potential Bills Commanders Super Bowl?
So here's the crazy thing, the irony of that. If it does happen, it would be the last time the Commanders were in the Super Bowl. They played the Bills.
Oh, that's right. That's
So that would be that's
wild.
what I'm saying. The irony of this is if it happens, the Commanders first time going back to the Super Bowl, they're playing the
Yeah,
same team that they played the last time they won the Super Bowl. So it would be Bills Commanders. Yeah.
that'd be a fun matchup for sure.
Yep. And the Bills are like, well, we ain't never won one, so they're gonna be very hungry, and they'll remember. And now I know it's 30
Yeah, they weren't even. Some of them kids weren't even born.
born, right? But I'm sure organizationally they're gonna be like, yeah, this is our time
Yeah,
now.
for
They had
sure.
their time back 30 years ago when they beat us, but it's our time. So yeah, I think it's gonna, if it happens, it can be a potentially good Super Bowl.
Yeah,
You know,
we really both went against the Chiefs. Oh boy.
I know we might come back next week and regret it and be like, well, looks like that 3P gonna happen. Like they're gonna make history on in a couple weeks, but
I
yeah, we'll
know.
see, man. But I truly believe I'm confident in my pick. I think it's gonna be
Okay.
Commanders Bills come out on top.
Well, real talk, man. You've been pretty spot on in these playoffs. You called a lot of these matchups, so let's see if that trend.
Right. Well, no. Well, I was horrible last week because I think we both picked the
You
Lions.
picked the Eagles. Dude.
Yeah, we both picked the Eagles.
I think I went 1 for 4 because I only picked the Chiefs. I picked the Lions.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Yeah.
I picked the Lions.
After the Chiefs.
I picked the that's the only one I picked right because what were the other ones?
You
I
picked the Rams.
I picked the Rams in an upset. Remember, it was
Oh, I
close.
picked the Eagles.
It was
Yeah.
that close to happening.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Because I picked. Yeah. So I think I went like 2. No, I went 3 for 4. Yeah, because I remember I only when I was wrong I was the Lions.
That's what I'm saying. You've done pretty good.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I
you're
went.
3 for 4.
Yeah. Why am I forgetting the other games?
So Chiefs, I picked the Eagles, and I picked the Bills. Because remember, I think you picked the Ravens, and I was saying I think Josh Allen's going to really, yeah.
So
So
I hope he was Joshua, and he was Joshua.
he was Joshua. Remember, I think I texted you. I said Joshua Patrick. Yeah, like I was like, yeah,
Dude,
bro.
I went 1 for 1 for 4.
Yeah, so I was 3 for 4. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see.
Keep. I like this. Keep it going, baby. Keep it
Hey,
going.
I only wish I could be like that with my actual team, but
Well,
yeah,
you usually are. You said they weren't that good this year.
yeah, I did.
There's,
Last year when they got blown out in that playoff game, you were like, bro, you the only one that said
you
that.
called it.
I was like, bro, they're gonna get blown out.
Sometimes I don't know if it's your pessimism as a fan.
Nah. I just because I know them. I know how this. I've seen this movie before, so it's like, no, they're not. They're gonna get killed. They're not.
But to be fair, there's been a couple seasons where you didn't think they'd be that good, and they actually ended up being good.
Yeah. So I would say the years they surprised me are the years they actually like won a playoff game. Like the year when Dak.
The Bucks year, like 2 years ago.
That surprised me because I thought we were going to lose to the Bucks.
Yeah.
Even the year they beat Seattle, even though we were at home, I just thought Seattle had a better team. That was just my opinion. They had a better team, but
real good.
Yeah, they won. And then now 1 year, I will say this: that 1 year that I thought they'd be good and they were good, and I thought they'd go far, but we got kind of cheated. Was the year that Dez had the catch.
The Dez non-catch.
So that year, I remember. I think I did say I think we're going to be pretty good, and we were. I think we were 12-4.
Because if you guys won that game, you go to the title game.
Yes. Yeah.
Who would you have played again? You would have played who?
Seattle. We would have played Seattle.
Oh, because the Packers lost to Seattle. That's right.
Yeah. Remember they lost it because it was on that kickoff. It was like an onside kick or something like that.
And I remember that game. I think Russell Wilson had like 5 interceptions. He played really bad.
And remember he hit overtime or something like that.
Yeah, the deep pass at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we could have beat Seattle. We beat Seattle that year. We beat them in Seattle. So I was like, dude, we could beat Seattle. And yeah, we got cheated, bro. I don't care what anybody says. That was a catch, so I don't care what anybody.
I know a Packer fan that disagrees with you, of course.
Of course, yeah. I know another Packer fan disagrees with too, but I'm like, it was a catch, bro.
Imagine if it was the other way around. You think they'd be disagreeing with you? They'd be like, yeah, Greg Jennings caught that ball. Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you're always gonna agree with what we're.
That's the only year I would say I thought we'd be good and go. I thought we would kind of get over the hump.
Yeah.
Was that year? Because even that year when we went to Vegas and they beat the Eagles, I didn't think we'd be good that year. And yeah, obviously we won a playoff game, so we were good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't confident we were gonna go far. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, just win a playoff game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, good. That kind of made the year for me because we hadn't won a playoff game in years. So I was like, okay, cool. But yeah, I didn't think we'd go far. That like I said, the only year was the Death's Catch year. I thought we could possibly go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I guess we won't know what our teams are going to do for a while. They ain't going to be playing for.
Yeah, we won't.
But all right, D, we'll wrap it up, man. And yeah, we'll see. I'm going to see you this weekend.
Together.
We're going to watch the games together. And yeah, man, hopefully your prediction is on point. We'll see.
Yeah, man. I know a lot of Commander fans are hoping I'm on point because they've been talking all week, bro. Like, they're like, I used to always think the Commanders fans were kind of delusional because every year
they still were.
Yeah, every year, even when they were horrible, they'd be like, "Man, we're going to the bowl." No, you're not going to the bowl.
They actually might go to the bowl now.
Now they might. I can't even front. Yeah, no, this is the year. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man, this place, if they do it, it's gonna be live.
Really cool. It's gonna be really cool.
It's gonna be nuts.
I thought we were possibly gonna have a DMV Super Bowl at one point, right?
Yeah. So that's funny. They were talking about that this week, at work and stuff. They talking about, yeah, man, I hope it could be a DMV joint, and it was like, okay. But I knew one of the two was not going to pull out. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I think Lamar had the harder road than Jaden does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say so.
Lamar had the harder road. So I kind of knew.
You got to go through Allen and Mahomes, bro.
On the road? Yeah, that's almost an impossible task. You know what I mean?
Very tough.
So
only guys like Joe Burrow get that job done.
Exactly. And where Jaden's kind of going through a less like, yeah, I mean, he had the Lions, but, they were still kind of inexperienced.
Yeah.
He's going through like a questionable Eagles, especially on O, not on D, but on O.
Yeah.
So he's had a lot. And then, he was playing a Bucs team that barely got into the playoffs. They had to win at the last game of the season to win the division and get in.
Mm-hmm.
So he had an easier road. You know what I mean? So I kind of knew one of the two wasn't going to pan out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
All right, D, but we'll do it again next week, man. We'll be talking Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Like, one of the questions I'm gonna write are the Chiefs gonna three-peat? We'll see. All right, man. Peace.